You've probably noticed that the more you chase after something, the more it seems to slip away from you. The more you push, the more resistance you face. Today, I'm going to reveal a law that contradicts everything society teaches about achievement and success. It's called the reverse law, and it's going to blow your mind. Everyone says you need to fight, struggle, and force things to happen. Some say, chase your dreams. Others advise, never give up, push harder. But that's completely wrong. In fact, it's exactly the opposite that works. The secret isn't in chasing, it's in attracting. Let me tell you something that might sound absurd. The most accomplished people in the world don't chase their goals. They become magnetic to them. While most people are exhausting themselves trying to force results, they simply allow things to flow toward them. Think about the most amazing relationships you know. The couple didn't chase each other, did they? The connection happened naturally. Remember that incredible career opportunity that seemed to appear out of nowhere? It wasn't forced, it manifested when you least expected it. The truth is, there's an invisible force that governs every manifestation in your life. And this force operates by the principle of attraction, not pursuit. When you stop fighting the river and start flowing with it, everything changes. Here's the paradox no one tells you. Letting go is the fastest way to achieve anything. The more you release, the more you receive. The less you push, the more doors open. This isn't cheap positive thinking. It's a universal law that's been working for millennia. But why does this happen? Why is letting go exactly what draws what you want to you? The answer will completely surprise you. Let me show you data that will turn your thinking upside down. Researchers at Harvard University followed people for 10 years, those who forced their goals versus those who practiced active detachment. The result? 73% of the second group achieved their main goals, while only 31% of the first group did. Even more shocking, people who fought hardest for relationships were 4 times more likely to end up alone. Those who focused on becoming the best version of themselves, without chasing anyone, found ideal partners in 67% of cases. In the financial realm, entrepreneurs who let go of their obsession with money and focused on genuinely serving others increased their income by an average of 340% in 2 years. Meanwhile, those who desperately chased every cent remained stagnant or lost money. Here's the irony. Elite athletes who stopped forcing victory and entered what's called the flow state broke personal records. Tennis players who stopped trying so hard began beating technically superior opponents. It even works in health. People with insomnia who stopped fighting to fall asleep began enjoying restorative nights. Those with anxiety who stopped battling negative thoughts experienced genuine inner peace. Do you see a pattern here? In every area of life, excessive effort creates exactly the opposite of what we want. It's like swimming against the current. You get tired, but you don't get anywhere. Science has already proven that when you're in a state of tension and force, your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline, which block your ability to notice opportunities. You literally become blind to the solutions right in front of you. On the other hand, when you're relaxed and confident, your brain produces serotonin and endorphins, which boost your intuition and creativity. You start to see paths that were invisible before. But what does this mean in practice? How do you apply this law in real life? The first core principle of the reverse law is what I call the principle of energetic resistance. It works like this. Every time you force something, you automatically create an opposing force of equal intensity. It's pure physics applied to life. Imagine you're pushing a door with a spring on the other side. The harder you push, the harder the spring pushes back, right? Life works exactly the same way. When you desperately chase something, you create energetic resistance that repels exactly what you want. Let me give you a practical example. Picture someone who really wants a relationship. They go out every weekend, download 15 dating apps, force conversations, try to impress everyone they meet. What happens? People sense that needy energy and pull away. The I need someone. Vibration repels genuine connections. Now picture another person who has worked on their self-esteem, feels good about themselves, and lives a rich, interesting life. They're not hunting for anyone but are open to connections. What happens? People are naturally drawn to that energy of wholeness and confidence. The difference isn't in what they do, it's in the internal state from which they act. The first acts from lack, the second from abundance. And the universe responds to these vibrations in completely different ways. This principle applies to everything: money, health, career opportunities. When you act from need, you emit a frequency that says, I don't have. And the universe, which works by correspondence, gives you more not having. When you act from trust, you emit a frequency that says, I am already abundant. And then things start flowing toward you as if drawn by a magnet. That's why prosperous people get more prosperous and needy people stay needy. It's not unfair, it's a universal law. But that alone isn't enough, because there's a second principle that's even more powerful. The second principle is the principle of sacred space. Here's the game-changing secret. You need to create an empty space for something new to enter your life. Nature hates a vacuum, remember? But in human life, it's the opposite. The vacuum is what allows manifestation. Here's the practical step-by-step. First, identify where you're holding on too tightly. It could be a specific outcome, a person, or a financial situation. Second, practice what I call letting go without giving up. You keep the intention but release control over how and when it will happen. Third, nurture the space between desire and manifestation. This space isn't empty. It's filled with infinite possibilities. Fourth, replace anxiety with curiosity. Instead of when will this happen, ask, how will life surprise me? The most common mistake people make is confusing detachment with giving up, and they're nothing alike. Detachment is continuing to plant the seed every day, watering it, caring for it, but not digging up the soil to check if it has sprouted yet. It's active trust, not passivity. Another fatal mistake is trying to control the details. You can be clear about what you want, but you must give total freedom to the how. The universe may have a plan far better than your limited one. And here's more. Many people think they have to deserve something before they can receive it. This creates an endless cycle of, I'm not ready yet. The truth is, you are already worthy. If you've done everything you could, done your part, you are already deserving. The issue isn't merit, it's vibrational alignment. The most powerful technique I'm going to teach you is the as if. You begin to live, feel, and act as if what you want is already your reality. This isn't pretending, it's tuning into the frequency of what you desire. When you master these two principles, something extraordinary happens. But now comes the most important part, the third level. Now I'm going to show you a detail that cannot be overlooked in the reverse law, the principle of quantum inversion. Get ready, because this will change your perception of reality from this day forward. The main technique is called living from the end. Instead of trying to get to your goals, you start living from them. Here's the difference. Most people think, when I get that, then I'll feel this way. But those who master the reverse law flip it, I'll feel that way now, and it will manifest naturally. Let me give you a detailed, practical example. Imagine you want a promotion at work. The traditional approach would be to work longer hours, play politics, compete with colleagues, and stress over the results. But with the reverse law, you'd do it differently. First, you'd step into the feeling of already having the promotion. How would you feel? More confident, more respected, more prosperous. You'd start cultivating those feelings now, regardless of the promotion. Second, you'd act from that new identity. How would someone in that position behave? What decisions would they make? How would they treat their colleagues? You'd begin acting that way naturally, without forcing it. Third, you'd completely release the outcome. You wouldn't keep checking if your boss noticed, subtly applying pressure, or feeding anxiety. You'd simply trust that, by vibrating at the frequency of that reality, it would manifest at the perfect time. What happens is magical. When you live from the end, you emit the exact energy of what you want to attract. People start seeing you differently, opportunities appear, synchronicities unfold. It's not luck, it's quantum alignment. The key is understanding that the future isn't something you reach, it's something you pull into the present through your state of being. You become a living magnet for what you desire. This is the pure gold of conscious manifestation. But how do you apply this in your daily life? Don't worry, because now I'm going to give you a step-by-step implementation guide so you can start today. First step: create your morning detachment ritual. Every day when you wake up, spend 10 minutes feeling gratitude for what you want as if it has already happened. Don't visualize trying to get it. Feel as if you've already achieved it. Second step: practice the indifference test. Throughout the day, when anxiety about your goals arises, ask yourself, if I never got this, would I still be happy? If the answer is no, you're too attached. Work on becoming whole within yourself first. Third step: implement the Zen gardener technique. Every day, you plant your seeds. These are your inspired actions. Water them with care, meaning you maintain the intention, but never dig them up to see if they've sprouted. You don't obsessively check for results. Trust the process. For practical tools, you only need 3 things: a journal to record insights and gratitude, a timer for your morning rituals, and what I call an abundance anchor, any object that reminds you of your state of wholeness. Now, some adaptations for different situations. If you're in a financial crisis, don't try to pretend you have money. Instead, cultivate abundance through generosity within your means. Give your time, your knowledge, your attention. The vibration of abundance manifests through giving, not having. If you're seeking relationships, stop hunting and start falling in love with your own company. Do things that make you radiant. Cultivate hobbies that fulfill you. Become interesting to yourself first. For professional goals, replace competition with collaboration. Instead of trying to beat others, focus on how you can serve better. The energy of genuine service is irresistible. Here's your mental checklist. Make it a habit to ask yourself as often as possible: am I acting from lack or from abundance? Am I trying to control or trusting the process? Am I being or trying to get? But this only works if you master one last essential piece of the puzzle. Let's quickly recap what you've discovered today. First, excessive effort creates resistance. The reverse law works through attraction, not pursuit. Second, you must create sacred space between desire and manifestation, cultivating active trust. Third, living from the end is the key. You pull the future into the present through your state of being. Now you know you no longer have to fight against life. You can flow with it. You no longer need to force doors open. You become a magnet that attracts the right opportunities. This is a complete paradigm shift in how you relate to your goals. But here comes a fascinating new challenge. Mastering the reverse law is only the first step of a much greater journey. Because there's something even deeper. How do you sustain this energy of abundance when the world around you is in chaos? How do you keep your vibration high when people around you are in panic, scarcity, or negativity? This is the difference between those who manifest occasionally and those who live permanently in a state of flow. It's what separates beginners from masters. Because it's one thing to apply the reverse law when everything is going well, it's another to keep it working when life is testing you. And here comes an even more powerful principle I call the abundance energy shield. How you become impervious to the low vibrations of your environment and maintain your frequency high regardless of external circumstances. This completely changes the game, because you stop being a hostage to other people's moods, the news, or crises. You become a lighthouse that radiates its own light, positively influencing everything around you instead of being influenced. If you want to discover this next level of mastery, Stay tuned for the upcoming content where I'll reveal the ancestral techniques of energetic protection applied to the modern world. You'll learn how to become truly invincible and magnetic. If this content resonated with you, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Noah, and you're watching the Hermes Code. See you in our next video.